Good evening and welcome to another edition of awakentheworld.ca. My name is Garen, and this evening we're going to be talking about walls and borders and the fact that they're actually just illusions. Within the ego there are walls, but they're not real. We created those walls or borders as defense mechanisms in an attempt to protect ourselves. And it started occurring the very first time the ego felt threatened or made to feel diminished. Because of course that's the one thing the ego fears most of all. The physical borders we see, whether they're, a Trump wall between the US and Mexico, or distinctions that we make based upon creed, race, color, any of those other egoic judgments are representative of the same borders that we create within ourselves. Now, these artificial constructs that started in our heads and are now physical, as in, the borders between countries, borders between, walls between the rich and the poor, all of that has manifest in the physical world, but removing them cannot begin without first dealing with what's inside of our head. It must begin with our own false sense of self. As I discussed in the post and video entitled "The Physical World is a Monument," what we see before us is actually a remnant. Even if Trump's wall does finally get built, it will be a remnant of the past thought, word, and deed. All of it's totally unconscious and unaware, of course. There is no need for us to push up against the physical manifestation because it actually won't work. All we do is prolong it. The only sane choice that we can pursue is to change the level of consciousness that created the physical manifestations that we wish to remove. And again, that begins with the realization that our own walls simply don't work. And here's the kicker, okay? The walls we think that we're putting up as defense against ego diminishment or feeling hurt aren't real. And they honestly don't work. Pay close attention. We end up falsely isolating ourselves from reality because the borders we put up only cloud our vision. They're always there to bring that past pain back into the present moment and stop you from seeing what's right in front of you. The physical manifestations are showing that as well. I mean, as within, so without. As above, so below. There's an immense body of wisdom in those simple words. And it applies here as well. The physical manifestations of those inner egoic walls bring about physical dysfunction in the physical world. The concept of a wall, I believe at one point the price tag was something in the neighborhood of $60 billion. As you know, millions of people are homeless and can't afford decent nutrition in the United States, but it's much better to build a wall. These are the sorts of dysfunction that manifest. And they first start manifesting right up here in our egoic mind, which doesn't actually reside right here. But for sake of argument, for sake of the video. They simply don't work. And if they do appear to be working, it won't last. Now, here's the deal. They are all illusions anyways. Your higher self, that which you truly are, knows no such limitations, has no concept of borders, no concept of walls. Try to remember that when you are aware of yourself and you see that a person or an event triggers a change in energy in you where you can feel a wall coming up. There's a block. Surrender and leave the wall down. It can be a beautiful experience to simply not be there as the gale force wind of whatever's coming through you simply passes through, because there's no wall to hit, nothing to push up against, and no I there to get caught up in it. You know, one of my favorite groups, and you know, I'm older than dirt, so I'm stuck way back in the day. Well, it's not that old, the group, to be honest. It's just surprising that it's almost 40 years, you know. But Enigma, I absolutely love them. And as we were doing sun salutations this evening, one of the Enigma songs that came on, uh, you know, in the eye of the lyrics are, in the eye of the storm, look for the open door. And that's the truth of our existence. That's the truth of who we are. No matter what storm you may think you're in, no matter how much the winds may be blowing you about, if you simply allow yourself to move out of the way, to drop those walls, drop those things that you think separate you from anybody or anything, and there will always be an open door. It's that experience that your higher self is looking for, that exhilaration at the drama. As I said in the video on awakening, it's conscious, raising consciousness is the only thing that matters. Um, your higher self is here. It's a joyride. It's only our limited egoic selves that have a real issue with life a lot of times, and it's quite funny when you experience all of them together, because you really realize that, hey, you know, it's just another one. It's okay. There's a uniqueness that the I think I have brings to it. And the more you let down your walls, the more you let down your borders, the more you open to life. It's quite simply magnificent. And it is my wish for you that you open yourself to life and allow life to flow through you, and dedicate yourself to conscious awakening. It is the best thing you can do for yourself and for all of humanity. This has been Garen. Have a wonderful night, and of course, namaste.